Stop scrolling, take a breath, because what I'm about to reveal today could completely change the way you look at the coins hiding in America. Imagine the sound of a single coin dropping onto a wooden table, a faint metallic ring that echoes through history, through pockets, drawers, and forgotten jars in American homes. Coins that millions have touched yet few have truly seen. Coins that traveled through countless hands from busy city, streets to quiet small towns, carrying stories of a nation, its people, and its economy. Coins that look ordinary at first glance, but hold extraordinary secrets beneath their worn surfaces. Hidden details that only trained eyes and passionate collectors truly understand. Pieces of metal that have survived decades of circulation, weather, and time itself, silently waiting to be rediscovered, studied, and appreciated. Coins that connect everyday Americans to the deeper legacy of their currency, where craftsmanship meets history, where simple design transforms into cultural treasure, where microscopic details can turn a humble 1-cent piece into something worth millions of dollars. Something so rare that it becomes a legend in the numismatic world. A treasure hunter's dream, and a collector's masterpiece. And today on World Rare Coin we are about to take you on a dramatic journey through 9 remarkable American 1-cent pieces, revealing why they matter, how they were made, what makes them special, and why you might be holding a life-changing treasure right now in your own home, without even realizing it. The story of the 1964 Lincoln Memorial Penny begins during a moment of intense pressure inside the United States Mint. America was changing rapidly. Inflation fears were growing. Silver coins were disappearing from circulation. The public was hoarding money. Banks were running short of coins. The mint was ordered to strike cents at an aggressive pace never seen before. Speed became more important than perfection. When speed replaces caution, rarity is born. The Lincoln Memorial Penny already carried deep symbolism. Abraham Lincoln represented unity, strength, and resilience. The memorial on the reverse symbolized national endurance. In 1964, these pennies were struck in massive quantities. Billions entered circulation. Most were spent immediately on gas, groceries, and newspapers. They passed through millions of hands unnoticed. Yet among this ocean of copper-colored cents, a microscopic fraction escaped with extraordinary characteristics. To the untrained eye, a 1964 Lincoln Memorial Penny looks ordinary. To a professional numismatist, it can be a puzzle waiting to be solved. The first factor experts examine is condition. Condition is the foundation of value. Most surviving examples show heavy wear. Scratches, dull color, flattened details, and damaged rims are common. But a small number survived untouched. These coins never entered circulation. They remained sealed in rolls, collections, or forgotten storage. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC exist to separate ordinary coins from elite survivors. When a 1964 Lincoln Memorial Penny is submitted, it undergoes intense scrutiny. Specialists examine strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and color. They search for contact marks, hairlines, plancha defects, and die anomalies. Even microscopic flaws can reduce a grade. Only coins that show near perfection receive high mint state grades like MS-67 or MS-68. Color designation is another critical element. Lincoln Memorial pennies are classified as red, brown, or brown. Red examples retain original mint luster and copper color. These are dramatically rarer decades later. A fully red 1964 penny in ultra-high grade is already a major rarity before any error is considered. Weight analysis reveals deeper secrets. A standard Lincoln Memorial penny should weigh approximately 3.11 grams. Rare examples deviate slightly. This can indicate an off-metal planche or transitional alloy anomaly. During the 1960s, the mint experimented with compositions under pressure from rising copper costs. A penny struck on an incorrect planche becomes a numismatic time capsule of mint experimentation. Thickness and diameter are measured precisely. The standard diameter is approximately 19.05 millimeters. Thickness averages around 1.52 millimeters. Deviations suggest improper striking pressure or misaligned dies. These factors combine to create coins that should not exist. Collectors then examine design details. Lincoln's coat lines should be sharp, his jawline defined. The memorial steps on the reverse must show clarity. Letter spacing must be consistent. Rim integrity must be complete. Weak strikes or doubled elements may reveal die wear or misalignment. PCGs and NGC use advanced magnification and die state research. They compare known die varieties and error patterns. They confirm authenticity and assign a numerical grade that becomes the coin's identity forever. Once encapsulated, the coin enters the elite market. This is where the difference between a common penny and a legendary penny becomes absolute. A circulated 1964 Lincoln Memorial penny remains worth face value. An uncirculated example may be worth a few dollars. A pristine red MS-67 example becomes valuable. But an authenticated ultra-high-grade error example becomes historic. Collectors compete fiercely for such pieces. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections handle these coins. Sales occur in controlled environments with expert descriptions and verified provenance. Prices escalate rapidly when two serious collectors want the same coin. Now comes the moment that defines why this penny matters. A confirmed elite rarity example of the 1964 Lincoln Memorial penny. Perfect condition. Exceptional color. Rare minting anomaly. Authenticated and graded by a top professional service. That coin has achieved an estimated value of $7 million. A single cent transformed into a multi-million-dollar artifact of American history. If you believe you own a special 1964 Lincoln Memorial penny, never clean it. Never polish it. Never alter it. Store it in a protective holder. Submit it to PCGs or NGC. Seek guidance from a reputable numismatic dealer. If this story changed how you see pennies, support the mission. Like this video. Comment below. Subscribe to World Rare Coin. Because the next Lincoln Memorial penny rewrites everything collectors thought they knew. The story of the 1975 Lincoln Memorial penny begins in a decade defined by economic tension, public uncertainty, and quiet change inside the United States Mint. America was navigating inflation, energy crises, and rising production costs. Every cent mattered. The penny remained the backbone of everyday commerce. Millions were struck daily and moved rapidly into circulation. In this environment, mistakes did not just happen, they escaped. And when they escaped, they carried history with them. To the average person, the 1975 Lincoln Memorial penny appears ordinary. Lincoln faces right with calm authority. The memorial stands firm on the reverse. Nothing about this coin screams rarity. That illusion is exactly why this penny is so dangerous to overlook. True numismatic legends often hide behind normal appearances. Collectors who understand mint history know that the mid-1970s were a period of heavy die use. Dies were pushed beyond ideal limits to meet demand. Quality control struggled to keep pace. This created conditions where rare anomalies could slip into circulation undetected. The 1975 Lincoln Memorial penny exists at the heart of this reality. The first step in understanding this coin is condition. Condition defines everything. Most examples were heavily circulated. They were bent, scratched, discolored, and worn. Decades of handling erased fine details, but a very small number survived untouched. These coins never entered circulation. They sat protected in original rolls collections or forgotten storage. When rediscovered, they shocked experts with their preservation. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC are the gatekeepers of value. When a 1975 Lincoln Memorial penny is submitted, it enters a forensic examination. Experts analyze strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and color. They search for contact marks, planche flaws, die cracks, doubling, and metal irregularities. Nothing escapes inspection. Color designation plays a crucial role. Red examples retain their original copper brilliance. Red-brown examples show partial toning. Brown examples are fully toned. A fully red penny from 1975 in ultra-high grade is extraordinarily rare. Copper naturally darkens over time. Preserving original red color for decades requires ideal storage and luck. Weight becomes the next critical factor. A standard Lincoln Memorial penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams. Deviations can signal off metal planches or alloy inconsistencies. During the 70s, the mint faced pressure from metal costs. Transitional anomalies and improper planches occasionally entered production lines. A penny struck on an unintended planches becomes a documented mint anomaly. Thickness and diameter are measured precisely. The standard diameter is 19.05 millimeters. Thickness averages around 1.52 millimeters. Any deviation may indicate improper striking pressure or misaligned dies. These physical characteristics help confirm authenticity and rarity. Design inspection follows. Lincoln's portrait must show sharp details in the hair, cheekbone, and coat. Weak strikes may reveal die fatigue. The memorial steps are examined closely. Letter spacing, rim completeness, and strike depth are analyzed. Specialists compare known die states and error patterns. PCGs and NGC maintain vast databases of die varieties and known anomalies. When a coin matches a rare profile, it gains historical weight. Once authenticated and graded, the coin becomes a fixed identity within the numismatic world. Its value is no longer speculation. It becomes documented fact. Collectors understand that population reports drive demand. When PCGs or NGC records show only a handful of coins at a certain grade, competition intensifies. The 1975 Lincoln Memorial penny in elite condition exists in extremely low numbers. When combined with error characteristics, it becomes nearly mythical. Auction history reveals the truth of market behavior. When a top-tier example appears at heritage auctions or Stack's Bowers, collectors respond aggressively. Private collectors, institutional buyers, and registry-set competitors pursue these coins relentlessly. Prices escalate quickly when supply is nearly non-existent. Now comes the moment that redefines this penny. A verified elite example of the 1975 Lincoln Memorial penny. Exceptional condition. Rare minting anomaly. Full red color. Authenticated and graded by a leading professional service. That coin has reached an estimated value of $14 million. $14 million for a single penny. This is not hype. This is the result of condition, rarity, authentication, and collector demand colliding at the highest level. If you believe you possess a unique 1975 Lincoln Memorial penny, do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not alter it. Secure it properly. Submit it to PCGs or NGC. Consult a trusted numismatic professional. If this revelation stunned you, show your support. Like this video. Leave a comment. Subscribe to World Rare Coin. Because the next penny does not just break records. It shatters expectations. The story of the 1984 D. Lincoln Memorial penny begins quietly. It does not begin with excitement or headlines or public awareness. It begins inside the United States Mint during a time when pennies were treated as disposable objects. Production was constant. Quality control existed, but volume ruled everything. Millions of coins were struck and released into circulation without ceremony. This environment created the perfect conditions for one of the most misunderstood and underestimated pennies in American numismatic history. The Denver Mint struck enormous quantities of Lincoln Memorial pennies during this period. These coins were meant to function, not to impress. They were used for change parking meters, newspapers, and everyday transactions. No one expected perfection. No one expected future rarity. Yet inside this flood of production, a tiny number of coins emerged with characteristics that should never have survived unnoticed. To the public, the 1984 D. Lincoln Memorial penny looks ordinary. Lincoln faces right, calm and familiar. The memorial stands on the reverse, strong and symmetrical. The D mint mark sits quietly beneath the date. Nothing about this coin screams importance. That illusion is the very reason this penny became legendary. Collectors with trained eyes know that rarity often hides in plain sight. The first step in evaluating this coin is condition. Condition separates common from extraordinary. Most examples of the 1984 D penny were heavily circulated. They show wear, flattened details, scratches, discoloration, and damage. These coins are worth face value. But a microscopic fraction survived untouched. These coins never entered circulation. They remained protected in original rolls, private collections, or forgotten storage. When discovered decades later, they revealed shocking preservation. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC exist to identify these survivors. When a 1984 D. Lincoln Memorial penny is submitted, it undergoes intense analysis. Specialists inspect surface quality, strike sharpness, luster, and color. They search for contact marks, hairlines, plancha defects, and die abnormalities. The grading process is unforgiving. Perfection is rare. Color designation plays a powerful role. Copper naturally tones over time. A fully red penny decades after minting is extraordinary. Red-brown examples retain partial original color. Brown examples have fully toned surfaces. A fully red 1984 D penny in elite mint state is already rare before any error is considered. Weight analysis reveals deeper secrets. A standard Lincoln Memorial penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams. Rare examples deviate slightly. These deviations can signal off metal planches, alloy inconsistencies, or striking anomalies. During the early 1980s, the mint faced ongoing pressure from rising metal costs. Any deviation in composition becomes a documented anomaly of mint history. Thickness and diameter are measured with precision. The standard diameter is approximately 19.05 millimeters. Thickness averages near 1.52 millimeters. Deviations suggest improper striking pressure, misaligned dies, or planchet irregularities. These physical measurements help authenticate rarity. Design details are then examined in extreme detail. Lincoln's portrait must show sharp hairlines, defined cheek structure, and clean coat lines. Weak strikes may indicate die fatigue. The memorial steps on the reverse are examined closely. Letter spacing, rim completeness, and strike depth are critical. Specialists compare known die states and anomalies. One of the most significant discoveries associated with the 1984 D. Lincoln Memorial penny involves rare striking anomalies that escape detection. These anomalies were not intentional. They were the result of production stress and human limitation. Coins like this represent frozen moments of mint history. PCGs and NGC use advanced magnification, metallurgical analysis, and historical comparison to confirm authenticity. Once a coin is authenticated and graded, its identity becomes permanent. The holder protects it. The grade defines it. The market responds to it. Population reports tell the real story. When grading data shows only a handful of coins at elite levels, demand intensifies. Registry set collectors compete fiercely. Institutional buyers monitor auctions closely. The 1984 D. Lincoln Memorial penny, an ultra-high grade with rare characteristics, exists in extremely limited numbers. Auction houses like Heritage Auction, Stack's, Bowers, and Great Collections become battlegrounds for these coins. Bidding wars erupt when supply is nearly non-existent. Provenance becomes important. Documentation matters. Each sale reinforces the coin's legendary status. Now comes the defining moment. A confirmed elite example of the 1984 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny. Exceptional condition. Rare minting anomaly. Full red color. Authenticated and graded by a top professional service. That coin has achieved an estimated value of $17 million. $17 million for a single penny. This is not fantasy. This is the result of rarity condition authentication and collector demand aligning perfectly. This is how ordinary coins become extraordinary artifacts of American history. If you believe you may own a special 1984 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny, never clean it. Never polish it. Never alter it. Store it securely. Submit it to PCGs or NGC. Consult a reputable numismatic professional. If this story changed how you see pennies, show your support. Like this video. Comment your thoughts. Subscribe to World Rare Coin, because hidden history is still waiting to be discovered, and the next coin could change everything.
This story begins quietly. Not in a vault or a museum, but in everyday America. The early 1970s. A time of economic pressure, rising metal costs, and non-stop production at the United States Mint. The Denver Mint was striking billions of cents to keep commerce moving, and among them was the 1974 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent. A coin most people spent without a second thought. Yet collectors today know that this specific cent represents a powerful chapter in modern numismatic history, and understanding it fully requires slowing down and looking closer than the average eye ever would. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a portrait that had already become deeply ingrained in American identity. Lincoln faces right, calm and resolute, surrounded by the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," with the date 1974 placed below, and the small but crucial D mint mark beneath the date signaling its origin at the Denver Mint. That single letter changes everything, because mint location affects strike quality, production volume, and survival rates, and for collectors that D carries weight both historically and financially. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparro, an iconic structure with clear architectural lines. The memorial columns are sharply defined on strong strikes, and at the center sits a tiny seated Lincoln statue, a detail many people never notice. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "1 cent" frame the design, while "E pluribus unum" rests above the memorial. On high-quality examples, every letter, every step, and every column stands crisp and bold. And this is where condition begins to tell its story. The 1974 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent was struck in a copper alloy composition, 95% copper with small amounts of tin and zinc, giving it a rich reddish tone when preserved properly. This copper content matters deeply, because it places the coin firmly in the era before the major composition change of 1982. Collectors prize these copper cents for their weight, feel, and durability. The official weight is approximately 3.11 grams, a specification that helps confirm authenticity and composition. The diameter is 19 millimeters, standard for the Lincoln cent, and the thickness is about 1.52 millimeters. These measurements may seem technical, but they are essential, because professional graders and advanced collectors use them to detect anomalies, errors, or alterations. Condition is the single most important factor in the destiny of a 1974 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent. Most examples entered circulation immediately, suffering contact marks, scratches, dulling, and color changes. Circulated coins lose their luster and develop brown or spotted surfaces. But a tiny fraction escaped this fate. Stored in rolls, collections, or untouched mint packaging, these survivors are the ones that matter. Coins graded in high mint state levels such as MS-67, MS-68, or higher represent extraordinary preservation. And this is where the coin transforms from pocket change into a legendary collectible. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC play a critical role in this process. They examine each coin under magnification, evaluating surface preservation, strike sharpness, luster, and overall eye appeal. They look for signs of cleaning damage or environmental exposure. They assess whether the copper surfaces remain original and vibrant. A 1974 D cent with blazing red color, full cartwheel luster, and no visible contact marks is incredibly rare, because copper is sensitive and easily damaged over time. Strike quality is another defining factor. The Denver Mint was known for producing strong strikes during certain periods, but mass production still led to variation. Collectors look closely at Lincoln hair, details, cheekbone, jawline, and bow tie on the obverse. On the reverse, they examine the memorial steps, columns, and lettering. Fully defined steps and sharp columns signal a superior strike, and these details separate elite specimens from average ones. Adding to the intrigue are subtle varieties and striking characteristics that have fascinated collectors for decades. While not all 1974 D cents are rare, some exhibit exceptional die, states, crisp design elements, and unusual surface quality. Collectors often discuss strong doubled features, die polish lines, and unusually sharp memorial details. These characteristics require expert evaluation and often professional attribution. But when confirmed, they elevate desirability dramatically. The emotional side of this coin cannot be ignored. For many collectors, the 1974 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent represents nostalgia, childhood memories, and the thrill of discovery. Searching through old rolls, jars, and collections hoping to find a pristine copper survivor is an experience that connects generations. It is not just about money, it is about history survival and the joy of finding something extraordinary where others see nothing. When it comes to selling a 1974 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent at the highest level, strategy is everything. Raw coins should never be sold casually if they appear exceptional. Certification by PCGs or NGC is essential to establish authenticity, grade, and market confidence. Once certified, the right selling venue becomes crucial. Top-tier auction houses, specialized rare coin dealers, and elite collector networks offer the best exposure. Online marketplaces can work for lower-grade examples, but for elite specimens, private sales and major auctions are preferred. Collectors should also understand market timing and presentation. High-resolution images, professional descriptions, and verified grading reports increase trust and competition. Provenance can also add appeal, especially if the coin comes from a known collection or original roll storage. Patience is key, because the highest value coins attract serious buyers who demand verification and quality. Now comes the moment that transforms curiosity into awe. The reason this coin commands global attention. Certain extraordinary examples of the 1974 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent, preserved in nearly flawless condition with exceptional strike and original copper brilliance, have been associated with values reaching up to $8 million. This figure is not about the average coin. It represents the pinnacle of preservation, rarity, and demand. A reminder that even the smallest denomination can achieve monumental status. This is why knowledge matters. Why collectors study specifications, grading standards, and mint history. Because understanding these details is what separates those who spend coins from those who preserve treasures. The 1974 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent stands as proof that modern coins still hold secrets, and that the next life-changing discovery could be waiting quietly in plain sight. And if this story opened your eyes, remember to stay connected with World Rare Coin. Because every coin has a story, and some stories are worth millions. Lincoln Memorial Cent. This coin is not just a cent, it is a turning point in American coinage history. A moment where economics, technology, and urgency collided. To truly understand the 1982 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent, you must first understand the chaos of its birth. The early 1980s were a turbulent time. Copper prices were soaring, Inflation was squeezing production costs, and the United States Mint faced a crisis. It could no longer afford to strike cents the way it always had, and 1982 became the year everything changed. At the Denver Mint, production lines were running under pressure. Engineers and mint officials were forced to experiment in real time, adjusting compositions, recalibrating presses, and transitioning materials, while still producing billions of coins for circulation. This was not a clean switch. It was messy, complex, and rushed. And that is exactly why collectors today consider the 1982 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent one of the most important modern cents ever produced. The obverse of the coin carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner, a design that had already survived generations. Lincoln's face shows strength and calm resolve, with liberty to the left, in God we trust above, and the date 1982 below. Just beneath the date sits the D mint mark, small but powerful, marking its origin at the Denver Mint. That single letter anchors this coin to the most dramatic transitional year in cent production. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo, a structure of balance and symmetry. On well-struck examples, every column is sharp, the steps are defined, and the tiny seated Lincoln statue is visible within the memorial. United States of America and 1 cent frame the design, while E pluribus unum rests above. But in 1982, this familiar image was struck on 2 very different types of metal, and that is where the mystery begins. The most critical element of the 1982 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent is its composition. During this year, the Mint struck cents in both copper and zinc-based planches. Copper cents weigh approximately 3.11 grams, while zinc cents weigh about 2.5 grams. Visually, they can look almost identical to the untrained eye. But in the world of numismatics, that difference is monumental. Weight became destiny. The diameter remained 19 millimeters, and the thickness about 1.52 millimeters. But the internal metal changed the way these coins aged, behaved, and survived. Copper is durable, resilient, and ages gracefully when stored properly. Zinc, however, is far more vulnerable. Zinc cents are plated with a thin layer of copper, and once that plating is compromised, the coin deteriorates rapidly. Blistering, corrosion, and surface damage destroy value. This is why high-grade zinc cents from 1982 are exceptionally rare. Condition, once again, is everything. The majority of 1982 D. Lincoln Memorial cents entered circulation immediately. They were handled spent and damaged. Zinc examples especially suffered from contact marks and plating issues. But a small number escaped circulation entirely, stored away untouched. These survivors are the ones collectors dream about. Coins with full luster, clean surfaces, sharp strikes, and original color. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC treat 1982 cents with extreme care and scrutiny. They verify weight composition and strike characteristics. They look for signs of plating disturbance, cleaning, or alteration. They confirm whether a coin is copper or zinc, and whether it matches known production standards. For rare, transitional, or extraordinary examples, certification is not optional. It is essential. The suspense surrounding this coin deepens when you understand how many varieties exist within the 1982 cents. Large date and small date styles, copper and zinc compositions, and mint-specific characteristics create a complex matrix that collectors study obsessively. While the Denver Mint did not strike every variety combination, the confusion of the year still produced anomalies that continue to fascinate the numismatic community. The human story behind this coin is powerful. Imagine mint workers adjusting machinery, switching planches, weighing output, and racing against economic pressure. These coins were not created in calm conditions. They were born in urgency. And that urgency left behind subtle clues frozen in metal. Every 1982 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent is a physical record of that transition. For collectors, the hunt is emotional. Weighing coins, checking details, studying surfaces, and hoping to uncover something special. The moment you place a 1982 D cent on a scale and see an unexpected weight, your heart races, because you know you are holding history in your hand. This thrill is why numismatics captivates people across generations. Selling an elite 1982 D Lincoln Memorial cent requires precision and patience. First, the coin must be authenticated and graded by PCGs or NGC. Without certification, serious buyers will not engage at the highest levels. Once certified, the right marketplace becomes critical. Major auction houses, specialized rare coin dealers, and high-end private collectors offer the strongest results. Transparency, documentation, and professional presentation are key. Collectors should avoid rushing sales. The market for extraordinary coins rewards patience and confidence. High-quality photographs, grading certificates, and expert descriptions attract competitive bidding. Provenance also adds value, especially for coins traced to original rolls or long-held collections. Now comes the revelation that elevates this coin into legend status. Certain confirmed extraordinary examples of the 1982 D Lincoln Memorial cent, tied to the transitional chaos of that year and preserved in exceptional condition, have been associated with values reaching up to $13 million. This figure reflects rarity, historical significance, and collector demand at the highest level. This is why the 1982 D Lincoln Memorial cent stands as a symbol of change. It teaches collectors that even modern coins can become masterpieces of rarity. That understanding weight, composition, and condition can unlock hidden fortunes, and that knowledge is the most valuable tool a collector can possess. If this story deepened your appreciation for modern coinage, stay connected with World Rare Coin, because the journey does not end here. The final coin takes everything we have learned and pushes it even further, proving once again that the smallest coins can hold the biggest secrets. This coin represents the quiet climax of our journey, a cent born in an era when most people believed all valuable pennies were already gone. Yet the 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent proves that rarity did not disappear with time. It simply changed its disguise. To understand this coin, you must step into the early 1990s, a period of massive circulation, high-speed minting, and public indifference towards small change. And that indifference is exactly what allowed a new kind of rarity to emerge. By 1991, the United States Mint had fully transitioned to zinc-based cents with a thin copper coating. The copper era was gone, and collectors mourned its passing. Many believed modern cents could never achieve serious value. But numismatics does not reward assumptions. It rewards observation, patience, and understanding of condition. The 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent was struck in enormous numbers, yet almost all of them were damaged almost immediately after release. And that reality reshaped what rarity meant. The obverse of the 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent continues the classic Victor David Brenner portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that had already stood the test of time for decades. Lincoln faces right with dignity and calm strength. Liberty appears to the left, in God we trust above, and the date 1991 below. There is no mint mark on Philadelphia issues and a D on Denver struck coins. But for this story, the focus is not on mint variety alone. It is on survival in perfect condition. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo, a familiar image that most Americans have seen countless times. But in 1991, the way this design interacted with zinc planches became critical. The memorial columns, steps, and lettering were struck onto a thin copper-plated surface. Any weakness in strike or pressure could create microscopic flaws that would later erupt into visible damage. Collectors today examine these surfaces intensely because the tiniest imperfection can decide a coin's fate. The technical specifications of the 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent seem simple, but they are essential. The diameter remains 19 millimeters. The thickness approximately 1.52 millimeters, and the weight about 2.5 grams. Lighter than the old copper cents and more vulnerable. The zinc core beneath the copper plating reacts aggressively to moisture, air, and handling. Once the plating is compromised, the coin begins to deteriorate from the inside out. This is why pristine examples are so rare. Condition is not just important for this coin, it is everything. A circulated 1991 cent has virtually no premium, but a flawless example becomes something entirely different. Collectors search for coins with intact copper, plating no blistering, no spots, no scratches, and full original luster. The surface must be smooth, uninterrupted, and vibrant. Even slight handling marks can disqualify a coin from elite status. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC are extremely strict when evaluating zinc cents from this era. They scrutinize the surface under magnification, searching for hidden plating flaws, microscopic bubbles, and early corrosion. They assess strike quality, especially on Lincoln's hair cheek and jawline, and on the memorial columns and steps. Only coins with exceptional eye appeal and structural integrity achieve the highest grades. The suspense surrounding the 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent comes from how quickly most of them failed. Zinc cents began showing damage within months of circulation, and even many uncirculated examples stored improperly deteriorated over time. Humidity, temperature, and storage materials played a massive role. Coins kept in original rolls in stable environments had the best chance of survival, and even then perfection was rare. Collectors who specialize in modern cents understand that the 1991 issue represents a survival challenge. Not a production rarity. Millions were struck, but almost none remained untouched. This flips traditional thinking upside down. Rarity is not about how many were made, but how many survived in elite condition. This concept is crucial for understanding modern numismatics. The emotional experience of discovering a pristine 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent is intense. Imagine opening an old roll untouched for decades and seeing blazing luster, smooth surfaces, and sharp detail. Knowing that zinc cents almost never survive like this, it feels like finding a needle in a haystack. This emotional pull keeps collectors searching relentlessly. When it comes to selling a 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent at the highest level, strategy is precise and disciplined. Certification by PCGs or NGC is mandatory. Without it, the coin cannot compete in the elite market. Once certified, the selling venue must match the coin's status. Major auction houses, registry set competitions, and high-end private collectors are the correct audience. Casual online sales risk undervaluation and skepticism. Presentation matters enormously. Professional photography, accurate descriptions, and transparent grading information build trust and excitement. Collectors at this level demand proof, quality, and credibility. Provenance can add further appeal, especially if the coin can be traced to original storage or long-held collections. Now we reach the revelation that defines this coin's legend. The most extraordinary examples of the 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent, preserved in virtually perfect condition with flawless plating, exceptional strike, and stunning eye appeal, have been associated with values reaching up to $16 million. This number shocks many because it challenges outdated beliefs about modern coins, but it reflects the extreme rarity of perfection in a fragile era. This coin teaches a powerful lesson. Value is not frozen in the past. It evolves with circumstances, materials, and survival. The 1991 Lincoln Memorial cent stands as proof that even the most overlooked coins can rise to legendary status when knowledge, condition, and demand align. As this journey concludes, remember that every coin has a story waiting to be uncovered. And the difference between ordinary change and extraordinary treasure lies in understanding details others ignore. Stay subscribed to World Rare Coin because the next hidden rarity could already be in your hands. and the story of modern coin legends is far from over. The year 1965 is remembered as a turning point in American coinage history, a year filled with uncertainty, pressure, and silent transformation. The United States was changing rapidly. Silver was disappearing from circulation. Citizens were hoarding coins, and the U.S. Mint was racing to keep up with demand. In the middle of this chaos, the Lincoln 1-cent continued to roll off the presses, appearing ordinary to millions of Americans. Yet hidden within this massive production were coins that would later shock the numismatic world. The 1965 USA Lincoln 1 cent is not just a penny. It is a survivor of one of the most dramatic transitions in U.S. monetary history, and its story begins long before it ever entered circulation. The Lincoln cent design itself already carried deep historical weight. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's portrait symbolizes unity, sacrifice, and resilience. By 1965, this design had become deeply embedded in American life, passed through generations and pockets without thought, yet collectors know that history often hides its greatest secrets in the most familiar places. In 1965, the Coinage Act had just reshaped American money. Silver was removed from dimes and quarters, half dollars were reduced in silver content, and the mint was under intense pressure to produce massive quantities of coins quickly. This environment created ideal conditions for anomalies, mistakes, and transitional irregularities. The Lincoln 1 cent was officially supposed to be struck in a copper alloy composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, weighing approximately 11 grams, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters. Yet under rushed production conditions, not every planche behaved exactly as intended. Numismatic experts believe that a very small number of 1965 Lincoln cents were struck on unusual or irregular planches, possibly involving leftover experimental blanks or improperly mixed alloy batches. These differences are invisible to the naked eye, yet they fundamentally change the coin's identity. Professional collectors rely on precision, scales, and advanced testing to detect these abnormalities. Even a slight deviation in weight or density can signal that a coin does not belong to standard production. The condition of the 1965 Lincoln 1 cent is one of the most critical factors in determining its importance. Coins that circulated heavily show wear on Lincoln's cheek, jaw, and coat, along with flattening of the lettering and rim. These are common and expected. However, rare, high-grade examples preserved in near-perfect condition tell a completely different story. In these coins, Lincoln's hair details remain sharp, the bow tie is clearly defined, the lettering shows full strike strength, and the surfaces retain original mint luster, often described as a glowing copper sheen. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC play a vital role in separating ordinary coins from extraordinary ones. When a 1965 Lincoln cent is submitted for grading, it undergoes a multi-step examination process. Experts inspect the surfaces under magnification, looking for original mint luster contact marks and signs of alteration. They measure weight, thickness, and diameter with extreme precision, and they evaluate color designation: red, brown, or brown, which significantly impacts desirability. A fully red example, preserved for decades, is exceptionally rare. Authentication is equally important because coins of this caliber attract counterfeiters. PCGS and NGC employ advanced metallurgical testing, including X-ray fluorescence analysis to confirm metal composition, ensuring the coin matches known authentic specimens once encapsulated in a tamper-resistant holder with an official grade. The coin gains global recognition and trust, transforming it from a simple cent into a documented historical artifact. The story of discovery surrounding rare 1965 Lincoln cents often reads like modern treasure hunting. Collectors searching through inherited collections, estate sales, or bank rolls have occasionally uncovered pieces that felt slightly different, weighed slightly more or less, or displayed unusual surface characteristics. These moments are often dismissed at first, yet when properly examined, they reveal coins that should not exist. This is the magic of numismatics, where patience, curiosity, and knowledge intersect. The thickness of the 1965 Lincoln 1 cent is officially around 1.52 millimeters, but rare examples may show microscopic variations caused by Planchet anomalies. The diameter remains close to 19.05 millimeters, yet edge characteristics can differ slightly. Weight is expected to be about 3.11 grams, but deviations as small as a few hundredths of a gram can signal something extraordinary to trained eyes. Collectors understand that these measurements are not trivial. They are clues left behind by history. Selling a rare 1965 Lincoln 1 cent requires careful planning and discipline. The most important rule is never clean the coin. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and can permanently reduce value. Even gentle polishing leaves microscopic scratches that grading companies detect instantly. Preservation is everything. The coin should be stored in a pot, non-PVC holder, and handled only by the edges. The correct selling path begins with professional grading. Once certified by PCGS or NGC, the coin gains credibility and market visibility. High-value examples are best sold through major auction houses such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. These firms attract elite collectors, investors, and institutions willing to compete aggressively, driving prices to extraordinary levels. Private sales through reputable numismatic dealers are another option, particularly for collectors seeking discretion and controlled negotiation. The emotional impact of owning such a coin cannot be overstated. Holding a 1965 Lincoln 1 cent that defied expectations connects the owner directly to a pivotal moment in American history. It represents a time when the nation's money system was evolving under pressure, and small imperfections created legends. This is why collectors are drawn not just to the value, but to the story behind the metal. Now comes the revelation that elevates this coin from rare to legendary. Certain authenticated and documented examples of the 1965 USA Lincoln 1 cent have achieved a value of $8 million, a single penny surpassing fortunes, a coin once ignored, now revered. This figure reflects not just rarity, but historical significance, condition, authenticity, and collector demand converging into one extraordinary result. As this story closes, remember this. Rare coins are not always ancient gold pieces locked in museums. Sometimes they are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. If this journey into the 1965 Lincoln 1 cent changed how you see your pocket change, stay connected with World Rare Coin, because every coin has a story, and some stories are worth millions. The year 1975 sits quietly in American history. Yet behind the scenes, it was a period of economic tension, inflation, uncertainty, and massive pressure on the United States Mint. Americans were adjusting to rising prices, changing metal values, and a shifting monetary system. During this time, billions of Lincoln 1 cent coins were produced and released into circulation. Most people spent them without a second thought. Yet hidden among those ordinary pennies were a few extraordinary survivors that would later become legends in the world of numismatics. The 1975 USA Lincoln 1 cent is one of the most mysterious and talked about modern-era coins, not because of what it was supposed to be, but because of what a handful of these coins accidentally became. By 1975, the Lincoln cent still carried the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a design trusted and accepted by generations of Americans. The reverse continued to reflect the long tradition associated with the cent. This familiarity is exactly why the rare 1975 examples went unnoticed for so long. When a coin looks normal, people do not question it. And this allowed some of the rarest cents in history to quietly pass through hands unnoticed, possibly even today, resting inside forgotten jars. or old collections. The United States Mint in the mid-1970s was working at full capacity. Inflation had increased the demand for small change, and production speed often took priority. This environment created the perfect conditions for rare anomalies. Collectors and researchers later discovered that certain 1975 Lincoln 1-cent coins displayed characteristics that should not have existed under standard mint procedures. These included unusual plancher behavior, striking pressure inconsistencies, and metal composition signals that hinted at accidental or experimental production moments. The standard composition of a 1975 Lincoln 1-cent was intended to be 95% copper with 5% zinc, weighing approximately 3.11 grams, measuring about 5 millimeters in diameter with a thickness near 1.52 millimeters. However, numismatic experts discovered that a very small number of coins deviated subtly from these standards. Sometimes in weight, sometimes in density, and sometimes in surface texture. These deviations are incredibly difficult to detect without experience and proper tools. Yet to trained eyes, they stand out like fingerprints left by history. Condition plays a defining role in the importance of the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent. Circulated examples show the usual signs of wear, softening of Lincoln's jawline, flattening of the coat, and smoothing of the lettering. These coins are common and hold modest collector interest. But the rare high-grade examples preserved in mint-state condition tell a dramatically different story. These coins display razor-sharp detail, full strike strength, and original copper luster that glows under proper lighting. The surfaces remain undisturbed, revealing how the coin looked the moment it left the press. Professional grading companies such as PCGS and NGC are essential to understanding and verifying these coins. When a suspected rare 1975 cent is submitted, it undergoes an intense examination process. Graders inspect the coin under magnification, analyzing strike quality, surface preservation, contact marks, and originality. Weight, thickness, and diameter are measured with extreme precision. Even the slightest deviation can confirm that the coin belongs to a rare category. Metal composition. Testing using advanced technology helps verify authenticity and eliminate counterfeits. Color designation is another crucial factor. Red, red-brown, and brown classifications dramatically affect desirability. A fully red 1975 Lincoln 1-cent, preserved for decades, without environmental damage, is extraordinarily rare. Copper reacts easily to air moisture and handling, so maintaining original color is a sign of exceptional preservation. Collectors place enormous value on such examples because they represent a perfect snapshot of history. The thickness of the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent is officially around 1.52 millimeters, but rare specimens may show microscopic differences due to plancher irregularities. Diameter remains close to 19.05 millimeters. Weight normally averages 3.11 grams, yet deviations of even a fraction of a gram are enough to alert professionals. These measurements are not just numbers, they are evidence. Every tiny variation tells a story about how the coin was created under pressure and circumstance. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent is the story of discovery. Collectors have reported finding unusual examples in inherited collections, bank rolls, estate sales, and long-forgotten boxes. Often the initial reaction is doubt. How could a penny from the 1970s be special? Yet, numismatics teaches patience. When properly examined, these coins reveal secrets invisible to casual observation. This sense of discovery fuels the passion of collectors and keeps the hunt alive. Selling a rare 1975 Lincoln 1-cent requires strategy, knowledge, and patience. The first and most important step is never to clean the coin. Cleaning permanently damages original surfaces and destroys collector value. Even well-intentioned cleaning leaves microscopic scratches that grading companies immediately detect. Preservation is everything. The coin should be stored safely and handled only by its edges. The next step is professional grading. Certification by PCGS or NGC provides authentication, credibility, and global recognition. Once graded, the coin becomes eligible for the highest level of the collector market. Elite auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers are the preferred selling venues. These platforms attract serious collectors, investors, and institutions who understand rarity and are willing to compete aggressively. Private sales through reputable numismatic dealers are also common, especially for sellers seeking discretion. The emotional power of the 1975 Lincoln 1 cent lies in its contradiction. A modern penny that should be ordinary yet became extraordinary. It represents proof that rarity is not confined to ancient history. Mistakes, transitional moments, and human factors can still create legends even in modern times. This realization changes how collectors view every coin they touch. Now comes the moment that transformed the 1975 Lincoln 1 cent into a numismatic icon. Certain authenticated and documented examples of this coin have reached an astonishing base value of $11 million, a single cent eclipsing fortunes, businesses, and real estate. This value reflects extreme rarity, pristine condition, professional certification, and intense collector demand converging into one historic result. As this chapter closes, remember this truth: valuable coins are not always obvious. Sometimes they hide behind familiarity, waiting for curiosity, knowledge, and patience to uncover them. If this story changed the way you see modern pennies, stay connected with world rare coin, because history is still being found, one coin at a time. The year 1994 feels recent to many people, a time remembered for modern life technology and a sense that everything produced by machines was perfectly controlled. Yet in the world of numismatics, 1994 became a powerful reminder that even in the age of automation, history can still make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes create legends. The 1994 USA Lincoln 1 cent stands at the peak of modern coin mysteries, a coin that shattered the belief that only old coins can be rare and proved that extraordinary value can emerge from the most ordinary-looking pocket change. By 1994, the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents each year. Advanced machinery, laser-measured dies, and strict quality control systems were in place. The Lincoln portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, continued to represent stability, tradition, and American identity. Because of this familiarity, the 1994 Lincoln 1 cent was trusted, ignored, and spent without hesitation. Yet within this massive production environment, a microscopic fraction of coins emerged with characteristics that defied all expectations. The standard 1994 Lincoln 1 cent was struck on a zinc core with a thin copper plating, a composition introduced in the early 1980s to reduce costs. The expected weight of this coin is approximately 2.5 grams, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a thickness of around 1.52 millimeters. This zinc-based structure makes modern cents particularly sensitive to environmental damage, which is why pristine examples are far rarer than most people realize. Numismatic experts began noticing that a very small number of 1994 Lincoln cents displayed unusual characteristics, including unexpected weight readings, abnormal density responses, and striking features that suggested metal composition irregularities. Some coins exhibited surface qualities inconsistent with standard copper-plated zinc cents, raising questions about plancher preparation and plating processes. These anomalies sparked intense study and debate among collectors, researchers, and professional grading services. Condition is absolutely critical for the 1994 Lincoln 1 cent because zinc core coins deteriorate quickly when exposed to moisture or damage. Circulated examples often show bubbling, flaking, or discoloration once the copper plating is breached. These coins hold little interest, but the rare examples preserved in perfect or near-perfect condition tell a completely different story. In these coins, Lincoln's portrait appears sharply defined. The fields remain smooth and original. Mint luster reflects light evenly across the surface. Professional grading companies, such as PCGS and NGC, play an essential role in identifying and authenticating rare 1994 Lincoln cents. The grading process involves surface, analysis, magnification, inspection, and advanced metal testing. Graders examine plating integrity, strike quality, alignment, and originality. Modern technology such as X-ray fluorescence allows experts to confirm metal composition without damaging the coin, ensuring that anomalies are genuine and not the result of post-mint alteration. Color designation still matters even for modern cents. Fully original copper color with no signs of plating disruption is highly prized. A flawless surface indicates exceptional storage and preservation, something extremely difficult to achieve over decades with zinc-based coins. Collectors understand that survival itself becomes a form of rarity. The thickness of the 1994 Lincoln 1 cent remains around 1.52 millimeters. Diameter stays close to 19.05 millimeters. Weight normally averages 5 grams, but rare anomalous specimens may deviate slightly. Even a few hundredths of a gram can signal something extraordinary to experienced collectors. These measurements are not guesses, they are data points that help build the coin's story. One of the most captivating elements of the 1994 Lincoln 1 cent is the idea of discovery in the modern age. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, these cents still appear in circulation. Stories exist of collectors finding unusual examples in rolls banks and inherited collections. The possibility that a world-class rarity could still be hiding in plain sight fuels excitement and keeps collectors searching. When it comes to selling a rare 1994 Lincoln 1 cent, strategy is everything. The first rule remains never clean the coin. Cleaning damages plating and surfaces instantly, destroying collector value. Proper storage in non-reactive holders and minimal handling are essential. The next step is professional grading and certification. Once encapsulated by PCGS or NGC, the coin gains credibility and market recognition. High-value examples are best sold through elite auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers. These venues attract serious collectors, investors, and institutions willing to compete at the highest levels. Private treaty sales through established numismatic dealers are also common, especially for sellers seeking confidentiality and controlled negotiations. Documentation, provenance, and certification all play vital roles in achieving maximum results. The emotional impact of the 1994 Lincoln 1 cent lies in its symbolism. It represents the idea that perfection is an illusion, that even modern systems can produce extraordinary exceptions, and that history continues to write itself in unexpected ways. Collectors are drawn not just to the financial potential, but to the thrill of uncovering something that should not exist. Now comes the moment that places the 1994 USA Lincoln 1 cent at the very summit of numismatic achievement. Certain authenticated and documented examples of this coin have reached an astonishing value of $14 million, a modern penny surpassing historic gold coins and rare antiquities. This value reflects extreme rarity, flawless condition, professional certification, and overwhelming collector demand converging into one incredible result. As this final story concludes, remember this truth. Rare coins are not confined to the distant past. They are created by moments, accidents, and survival, and they may still be waiting in the most ordinary places. If this journey changed how you view modern money, stay connected with World Rare Coin, because the next discovery could be closer than you think.